Struggling to get things done? Now, are you somebody who sits down at the desk to work and after a full day, you've barely got anything done? What if I told you there's a system that can help you get a lot more done in a lot less time? Well, that's what we're going to chat about in this week's video. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Nick Russell, and this is Let's Chat Tech with Nick. Now, for me, I've been an entrepreneur, freelancer since about 2016. And it took me a long time to get into a good routine and develop a really good system that helped me stay focused and actually be extremely productive instead of just busy. Now, before I started my business, Rustech, I used to work at a company called The Beer Store. And it was a retail outlet that sold beer for the major brewers here in Canada, mainly in Ontario. Now, throughout my career, I started out part-time when I was in university and worked my way up to management. But even as a manager of multiple stores, I still had somebody to answer to, and my days were very structured. It wasn't like working from home and having to deal with a ton of different distractions. Now, when I transitioned in 2016 to starting the business, there were a ton of distractions working from home, from wanting to do dishes, the TV being on, to listening to music, to wanting to do laundry, getting sweep and clean and all these things. And it took me a number of years to finally get into that good routine and develop all the systems that I use today that help me get 12 hours, maybe 14 hours worth of work done in maybe 4 to 6 hours worth of time. And in this video, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. So without dragging this on, let's talk about the first tip to being more productive. So the first thing I want to talk about is your energy and your focus. Now, you can't be productive if you don't have the energy, and you can't be productive if you're not focused. And the first thing you need to do is you need to worry about your sleep schedule. Now, it took me a long time to figure this out, but the less sleep you have, the less productive you're going to be. And I'm not saying you need a full 8 hours worth of sleep. That could be 6 hours for you. For me, it's anywhere between 6 and 7 hours worth of sleep, but an actual good sleep. And the first thing that I learned to help with that, other than having my Galaxy Watch 4 and using Samsung Health to give me all kinds of tips, was actually taking my phone and not having it next to me. I take my phone and I have that on the other side of the room. The reason for that is subconsciously, you're thinking about what distractions and what notifications you're getting. So if your phone is next to you while you sleep and you happen to wake up in the middle of the night, what's the first thing you do? Grab your phone. Now, after you get a good night's sleep, the first thing you need to do is hyperhydrate. Now, the reason for this is while you're sleeping, you're completely dehydrated. So the first thing you do when you wake up is actually have a pint glass or a glass of water next to you and chug that water. Now, I use my water bottle and drink about a glass worth of water when I first wake up, and that really gets me going to start the day. The next thing is working on your energy, and believe me, it took me a very long time. It took me till last year to figure this one out, but actually moving your body and either exercising in the morning or getting out and going for a walk or run, whatever works for you, just move your body. And then this goes throughout the day as well. And we'll talk about different tips and how to do that. But the first thing you need to do is get up and move your body. Getting that fresh air for me and getting about 5 to 6 kilometers of walking in the morning has been game-changing for my focus and my energy. And that helps me get more done in a lot less time. So with that, let's talk about the second tip. Now, this next tip is working in sprints and not in a marathon. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, this is where time blocking your week and your day comes into play, and using the Pomodoro Technique. Now, if you don't have your day time blocked and you're just working at a handful of tasks, not knowing what comes next and what goes where throughout the day, you're going to be so disorganized and not very productive. But if you plan your week ahead, so on Sunday, I plan my week and I block everything I need to do during that week. And that's not to say that's set in stone. Things can change and be moved around as needed. But as long as you have a plan and an idea for your week, and then re-go through that each morning, plan out your morning to see what comes up in the day, and taking all of your tasks and breaking it down to the top 3 tasks, and then readjusting to the next top 3, the next top 3 until your list is done, is game changing. And a way to use that is the Pomodoro Technique. Setting a timer for 25 minutes and focusing hard on whatever task you set to do first for 25 minutes without distraction. Shutting all the notifications off your phone, a focus mode on your laptop or your phone, whatever the case may be. But as long as you don't get notifications, and for me, this desk mat here, the only thing on this desk mat is what I'm going to be using for that task, which is typically my keyboard and my mouse. That's it. And I focus hard for those 25 minutes. At the end of that 25 minutes, get up, move your body, do a little bit of a stretch, get some more water, whatever the case may be, and then redo that 25 minutes again, and so on, how the Pomodoro Technique is set out. So those are the really key things to getting more done, is make sure you time block and use the Pomodoro Technique or something similar to focus on that one sprint to get each task done, instead of no task list, just a jumble group of ideas and working in a marathon. Going through the sprint, you're going to get a lot more done in a lot less time. Now, let's focus on the last tip we're going to talk about today. Now, this last tip is actually having a system in place. And for me, that's 2 apps. I use Todoist and I use Notion. And, well, Google Calendar, but everybody has a calendar. Now, with Todoist has transitioned now. That is my task management app. That's it. I don't do anything else, no project management. All my tasks are in Todoist. And I do have some reoccurring tasks like different morning routines or evening routines that will repopulate after I'm finished doing that routine, say this morning, and it will repopulate tomorrow. But every Sunday when I plan out my week, I time block in Todoist for every task that needs to get done. And what happens there is that will then show up in my Google Calendar or my Notion calendar, which is synced with Google Calendar. From there, the other system I have in everything else is in Notion. So in the mornings, on Sunday, I do all of my planning, whether it be my weekly planning, my daily planning, my monthly review and planning, quarterly, yearly, as well as my content creation. Everything is set in Notion to create content. So whether that's all my YouTube content, all my short form video content, my social media content, sales funnels, websites, email newsletters, everything is planned out in Notion. And each task has its own page. So if I'm creating content on social media like Facebook and Instagram and so on, that's done in one of the templates in my content planning hub. If I'm creating a script and a video for YouTube, I have a YouTube planning page in my content planning hub. And then I have all of my planning templates so I can plan out my day, talking about the tasks, what I'm grateful for, an affirmation for the day. At the end of the week, I do a weekly review and plan for the next week. And at the end of the month, review, plan for the next month, quarterly and yearly. All of my systems are in one place right here in Notion. So that's it. Make sure you have enough energy and you're focused. Make sure you're drinking lots of water and getting some exercise. and then use tools and tips like the Pomodoro Technique to stay focused and work in sprints to get your tasks done, and make sure you have a good system. Using this, you're going to get a lot more done in a lot less time. So that's it. Now, in this video, I did talk about two things. I talked about the content planning hub as well as my planning hub that I use in Notion. And I want you to be able to use these tools to help you plan out and stay organized while you're creating content on social media, as well as be organized in your entire life and plan out everything from your week to your month to your doing quarterly reviews and planning out your entire year. All of that is in one place in my Notion planning hub. And what I'll do is I'll put a link to each of those in the description below, and you can give those a look and make sure you get organized and plan for a better week, a better month, and a better year. So with all that said, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you got something out of it, be sure to like the video, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. And we'll see you on the next video.